today on Divorce Court.
I am doing everything I can to keep our family together.
I don't feel like her family thinks that I'm good enough for her because I was not doing so good as far as like taking care of her.
His flirting, it has calmed down a lot, but he likes to show me that he can get whatever he wants.
Well, I feel like Elaina could trust me because I never gave her anything to not trust me for.
I am definitely willing to fight for my marriage with Esmond.
Divorce is not an option, and I didn't get married to get a divorce.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Elaina Bryson and Esmond Bryson. Mr. and Mrs. Bryson, you have been married for 4.5 years, but you've only known each other for 5. So you must have gotten married pretty soon after you met. I'm going to ask you, Mrs. Bryson, how did you get together and what has brought you here?
Well, we actually met in middle school, and he left, and then we got back together when we were teenagers. And at first, we didn't get together because of his lifestyle. I didn't want nothing to do with the lifestyle.
What kind of lifestyle was he leading?
In the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then after a while, he kept trying and trying and trying and trying. So we finally got together, and after 3 months, we got married.
Okay. Mr. Bryson, is that a fairly accurate recitation of what occurred?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you loved her from middle school on?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I didn't, in middle school, I wasn't attracted to her. I actually used to make fun of her.
You just knew her in middle school?
Yeah, we was friends. We had a lot of mutual friends.
But once you met her later on in life,
yeah,
you pursued her?
Yeah.
And won her?
Yes.
How long did you date before you got married?
3 months.
3 months. What in 90 days said to you, I'm gonna make a life with this dude? Because you already had background on him that wasn't cool.
Yeah.
He was in the streets and you didn't like it.
Right.
So what did he do in those 90 days to turn you around?
It was just his personality, just everything, just his personality.
You gotta be more specific than that.
We had great chemistry. We just clicked right away.
Mr. Bryson, are you on the same page with that? It was kismet, it was meant to be,
well,
that kind of thing?
Yeah, it was chemistry there, but most importantly for me, she wasn't easy to get. I had to work for it, and I wasn't used to that.
Right.
So that what made me more attracted to her.
Right,
so,
yeah. Because women these days don't make you chase.
Oh yeah, they don't make you chase.
At least as far as I can tell from in here. And the attraction of the chase is a great deal of it for dudes. Let me ask you this: once you caught her, when did you first start having concerns?
I don't know. At first it was just lust. I was just going off of lust and attraction, and then I started getting the motherly love from her, the affection that I wasn't used to. So that would bring me a little closer to her, and then she was more of my best friend at the same time.
What about your background made motherly love foreign to you?
Well, I grew up in a difficult household. I didn't really get affection from women in my life,
right?
In my family, and I was just in the streets a lot. And the streets
were tough.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, yeah. Ms. Bryson, you say part of the problem that you're having with your husband is that he has so much anger built up from when he was younger that it's causing trouble in your relationships. Can you explain to me, give me some examples of how that's impacting you now?
A lot of anger. Just something so little, he just explodes and goes off.
Give me an example of what he's exploded about and how big the explosion is.
One example, as we took a family trip to New Orleans, some girls were flirting with him in an elevator, and he was flirting right back, right in front of my face. And I stayed quiet, and I had an attitude. So because I had an attitude,
he got angry.
My negative energy just like bursted on him. So he just got really angry. He left me, so I had to find my way to the hotel. I was angry that I had to find my own way by myself in New Orleans, where I had I had no idea where I was. And once I did find my way, he was inside of the hotel. So we just got into an altercation after that.
Now it was a terrible thing to happen. He never should have left you there.
Right.
But I'm not saying, you're not showing me huge anger over a small thing. What's the smallest thing he's gotten angry about? Give me a sense of how unsteady it is at your house.
Just almost every day, just us communicating. If we're communicating and I'm asking too many questions or just basic conversation, he'll explode and be like, why you need to know that? You don't need to know all that information. It just like shuts down the conversation, and I'm just stuck with no other words to say. It's just basic
Mr. Bryson,
conversation.
I understand one of the things that you remain angry about is her failure to change her name to Bryson at her job. I think she uses it socially, but doesn't change it on her official documentation. Am I accurate at that?
Yes.
Tell me about the conversations you've had about that and why you're so angry about it.
Well, I guess it got a little bit to do with my insecurities, for
Okay.
one. And for two, she works with a lot of guys. So when she using her maiden name, they don't take our relationship seriously. And I just wish she would just change it. And so, I mean, we've been married for years. She gave me excuses about that she got to wait to the January, the beginning of the year, to change it. But we've been married 4.5 years. That's a lot of Januaries that passed.
Right. Mrs. Bryson, do you intend to change your name? And if so, why are you dragging your feet?
It's the reason why it's taking so long, and the reason why I have to wait until January is because it's on my medical records.
Right.
The reason why he gets upset is when I call into work, I have to say my first and last name and my information to call in sick at work. And
You have to officially change all of that in the system.
He hears that with the medical. He hears that when I call in with my job, when I go to doctor's appointments. So it's just like he thinks that everything hasn't been changed when it's only my job. That's the only thing that hasn't been changed.
Oh, all the other stuff has been changed. Just that one thing
Everything
hasn't
has been changed. My
Is
Social
that
Security,
accurate?
It's accurate, but I wish she would just represent me, my last name. I worked hard to get her to get my last name, so I want her to represent. That's all.
Okay. Women get into a fight with their dude. They come and run home to mom and dad and tell them he's awful, now when he's wonderful, they don't hear from you. You only sell them the bad side.
Right.
So eventually they're gonna hate the guy because everything they hear about him is negative.
Right.
Is that what you've done? Mr. Bryson, you say that her family dips into your business because she's running to them all the time. Tell me what it is that's going on and why you don't like it.
Well, every time we get into an argument, she likes to run to her family and kind of put me down, tell them all our business.
Right.
So they always just like to jump in our marriage, and I firmly
When you
believe.
say jump in, what do they do? Do they call you? Do they talk to you, or are they just in her ear?
They in her ear, and I think that she believes it. Some of the things that they say, they tell her to leave me. She shouldn't talk to me. She need a better man to take care of her and all this, and it doesn't do nothing good for our marriage because she just started looking at me like maybe they're right.
Do you run to them when you have a problem? Because this is what happens. Women get into a fight with their dude. They come and run home to mom and dad and tell them he's awful. Now, when he's wonderful, you don't run home and say they don't hear from you.
No.
But you only sell them the bad side.
Right.
So eventually they're gonna hate the guy because everything they hear about him is negative.
Right.
Is that what you've done?
Right, and you're exactly right. When I run to them, they only hear the negative. They don't hear the positive. But in my defense, I only absolutely run to a family member when I have to, when I absolutely have to. I don't...
How often do you absolutely have to?
Well, this year it's been almost 4 times, so...
What makes you absolutely have to? What occurs that makes it necessary for you to contact them?
For example, when I found out that he was cheating on me, yeah.
When did you find out he was cheating on you and how?
A year ago, almost exactly
What
a year
happened?
ago. What happened was he told me a story that he was going to have a prostitute, just one, that he was gonna have, and I believed it. I trusted him.
Even if he was telling the truth, wouldn't you find that
Yes.
that horrifying that he would pimp out a woman?
Right, right. Well, at the time, we were really, I know it sounds horrible, but we were really struggling really bad. And as long as I knew all the information and what was going on, that was his story. And
so it turns out he was sleeping with her?
No, well, at the time, not at that time, after.
He started to sleep with her after a while.
After I left is when it started, so, yeah.
Mr. Bryson, can you tell me a linear story here? What happened chronologically?
Okay, so she left, like she said, and that's when I started having a relationship with the woman, so. It was enduring.
Well, okay. Well, so much I want to know, but I'm afraid to ask. I'm gonna ask what the fight about, what the leaving was about, what the problem with the family is all about, and see how much I can get through. You weren't allowed to come to her family to
No, I wasn't.
Is it because they didn't like you, because of what she was telling them?
It was because
they didn't like you because you were black? What was it?
It was because, it was because I was black, and it was because what she told them too.
Ms. Bryson, you were okay with him being a pimp, but you finally got in a fight with him about something that caused you to leave. What was that fight about?
I've actually went to work a week later after he told me that he was gonna start this business. And I went to work, and a girl that I work with is a dancer, a go-go dancer at one of the clubs. She came up to me and told me, she was like, are you and Esmond still together? And I was like, yeah, we're still together. Why, what's going on? And I already knew in my head what was gonna happen. She told me that he was locked up with an older white fitness lady looking up in her almost 40s, and asked, if we were okay.
If you say that's old,
yeah,
I'm gonna hurt you both.
Oh, to us, to me, to him, actually. Yeah.
I'm leaning so hard on 60, it squeals every time I get up in the morning. She's talking about this old chick, 45. I got a son that age. Mr. Bryson.
Yes.
So that was what made you leave?
Well, yeah, and she asked if we were okay, and I have to sit here and explain myself at my job what's going on to this one person. And when I got home, I was like, we need to talk. And right when I said that, he, just like how he always does, get automatic defensive, and we got into another altercation. He left the house with his cousin. And let me mind you, during this time, he flew his cousin in. For the first 2 months that his cousin was here living with us, he never came home. Out of those 2 months, at night, when I got off of work, him and his cousin would be gone every night. He would pass the baby over to me and leave with his cousin. Wouldn't come home till 2 o'clock every night, except for 2 nights out of 2 months.
Now that I know why you left, why did you come back?
Well, there's
Love, Your Honor.
Mr. Bryson, what do you think the main problem is?
Well, I was gone, but I was still in the streets, so I was just trying to provide for my family at that time. But we just had a lot of arguments and disagreements. It was the family thing for me mostly. She used to leave me all the time and spend half of the holidays with her family, and have to leave me with my daughter and take her.
You weren't allowed to come to her family to
No, I wasn't.
Is it because they didn't like you, because of what she was telling them?
It was because
they didn't like you because you were black? What was it?
It was because, it was because I was black, and it was because what she told them too. They just didn't never hear no positive things that come from me. They only heard the negative stuff, so,
But let me ask you this, Mr. Bryson. If you had a daughter and she brought home a street dealing, prostitute running, hothead dude for a husband, wouldn't you be concerned?
Definitely.
Ordinarily, I would tee off on him. There's a lot of stuff to tee off on him about, but I'm not gonna. And you wanna know why? Because I'm afraid that if I make him feel less than and powerless, he'll take it out on you. I saw his reaction when he saw you had makeup on.
Yeah.
That is a frightening thing to me.
Yeah.
That he is that insecure. So I'm not gonna tee off on him. I'm gonna beg you instead. I'm gonna beg you to be the kind of man that you would want your daughter to marry. I'm gonna beg you to be the kind of man that isn't okay with entering into a lifestyle you know 100% has horrible outcomes. I want you to be the kind of man who has a wife who feels safe and secure in her own home. I want you to be the kind of man that can look at her wife, whatever she does, she puts on whatever it is, you're not gonna get mad about it because you're so secure in who you are. You're not concerned that she looks really pretty today. So concerned that you acted up behind the fact that she had makeup on. Ooh, what a frightening way to live under all that pressure. Home should be where you feel safe and sound and secure and like, whoo, I can be all off my game and I don't have to be on top of my because my man is here and he's got me. But she can't do that. She goes home and thinks, oh my God, what can't I say today? Her family doesn't like you because you've done things to make yourself not likable. And I want you to remember the analogy I gave you about your daughter every time you deal with the family. If you want to keep this guy, which I'm sure you do, quit telling your family, oh, you don't need more heartache than you already got.
Yeah.
Quit telling your family what's going on unless you're really ready to make that move. And Mr. Bryson, if you love her at all, go get some anger management so you can make her life okay. Because I'm that concerned about her. Do you love her?
I do.
Do you want her to be happy and safe and feel comfortable at all?
I do.
Are you willing to go to anger management or get some kind of counseling, maybe even marriage counseling, in order to facilitate that end?
Yes.
That's what my husband says to me when he's going to shut me up and wants to go to sleep.
No, I don't know about anger management, but I want to go to marriage counseling for sure.
That makeup thing scared the living daylights out of me.
She's just a natural beauty.
Absolutely, she's a natural beauty. But that should be, you're a natural beauty, you don't need it. But you got angry. That's the part that scares me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This matter is adjourned.
I would definitely love to go to marriage counseling. We got a lot of things that we need to talk about to somebody else, and we need a third person looking in to let him know that I'm not the only one telling him that he's wrong.
The judge said I had an anger problem, which I do, and I know I need to work on it, but at this time, I think we have other issues that we need to work on as I work on myself.